members of for the Norton's teaching group. I want to take a few minutes today and go over a few of the things that I do in utilizing my office hours meeting to record videos for my classes. I have two classes that I am involved with. One of them is the Ag Business 180A class, and the other one is the Macroeconomics 151 class. I have one section of the 151 class. Now I'm going to start off with by showing you basically how I set up the lesson for the Ag Business 188 class. I'm the only instructor in that class, and so as a result, I find that I have quite a bit of liberty in doing what I want to do in that class. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video cam right now and simply go to the material here that we want to take a look at. Now, if you'll notice here across the top of my screen, I'm not sure just what you can see on the other side over here, but I've already pre-set up several versions or several sets of lessons for me to go to rather quickly. And I do this so that I can preset these things to different positions in the lesson, and helps me to be able to go ahead and get started a little bit more directly, and helps me to be able to move through the lesson a little bit quicker. Now, this is my Ag Business A 188 class, and I have already set these up as I mentioned, and also I've already established a few of the Excel files that I'm going to need as I progress through the lesson today. And also I'll be referring to a PowerPoint presentation that's very brief that I use at the beginning of my lesson. Okay, now to start with, I will go through the lesson overview that we see here on the page, and I will start this off and go through this to help the students to be able to see some of the primary purposes for the lesson and some of the lesson outcomes that they are going to be exposed to. So here, as you can see, we're going to be talking about financial feasibility, about business liquidity, and business solvency. Now, some of this, particularly the second one and the third one, we're going to be discussing that primarily in next week's lesson, in lesson 13. But we will touch on it a little bit in this lesson. Now, lesson outcomes, I'm not going to take time to go over each one of these, but I generally inform the students that they can go ahead and read these on their own. And what I do want to do here is I want to review with them the lesson schedule, and generally at this particular stage, by the time I have the office hours meeting, I will be here in due date number 1 will already be passed, and I will be ready to start into due date number 2. Now, I try to point out at this time to the students that we have a little bit about the structure of the lesson. They're not all the same. In this particular lesson, we have 2 guided practices, and we do not have a apply your skills portion to the lesson. And so we will have 2 guided practices, and then the other things that go along with it, but we do not have an apply your skills. So now the next thing I want to do is to go to the PowerPoint presentation. This is a very brief presentation, but it does help to get everything started for the lesson today. And so we go ahead and look at this. This is Ag Business 188, Lesson 12. The title of the lesson is Application Number 4, and the application series is a series of lessons that are finish up the semester with. There's several of them, there are 6 of them, and we go through all 6 of these lessons during the last part of the semester. And these are all budgeting semester lessons where we apply Excel principles and concepts that we've been working on in the early part of the semester, and we apply them to some budgeting activities here at the end of the semester. I like to start off with a very brief statement of some sort here, and in this case, this is a statement by President Hinckley that when all is said and done, we are all students. If a day ever comes when we quit, when we quit learning, look out. We will just atrophy and die. We all can learn and learn well. And so I'd like to point that out, something of that nature. Now today I would then review with them a few terms and concepts that we're going to be going over. And in this particular case, we have looked at these once before, so I will be going over these rather quickly to review them. We have time, looking at time in past, present, and future, and then we have time periods, last year and this year, and then we'll have records, a summary of the past year's financial activities, and then budget represent an estimate or projection of what the financial activities will be in the future. And sometimes these are referred to as pro forma statements. Now, last time we talked about this, we talked about a budget unit, and in that case we were talking about enterprise budget. So the budget unit might be a number of acres, a number of hectares, number of animals in the budget that the budget represents. Now in this lesson and next week's lesson, we're going to be considering the budget unit to be the entire business operation. Several types of budgets. We've already talked about enterprise budgets. We've talked about partial budgets. We talked about last week cash flow budgets. And so this week we're going to be talking about the pro forma income statements, and we will also introduce very briefly the pro forma balance sheets. Now this is a little diagram that I think helps students to understand the difference between keeping records and preparing budgets. And so in this particular case, I show them we have, if we were standing here today, usually I single this out as December 31st of the past year, and this would basically be the very end of that day. And so we were looking backwards over 2016, and we'd have be keeping financial records, or we would have kept financial records for that year, and those financial records then represent history of what's happened in the past, a financial history of our business over the past year. Now, standing here again at the beginning of 2017, we're going to be looking forward, and we're going to prepare some estimates or projections of what we expect to happen during 2017. And that's what we mean when we talk about a budget. Now this is a little more detailed, and this you'll find this in the very beginning part of the lesson. But this is simply talks about an accounting period, and those of the students that have had accounting before will understand this rather quickly. But here you have an accounting period, like we were talking about 2016 in the previous budget, and we have the beginning January 1st at the beginning of that accounting period, and then we would have January the 1st of the following year, which would basically be our budget year. Now, an income statement then is a summary of all the business activities that would occur over this accounting period. And our balance sheet then is going to be what we'll be talking about more next week. But that's going to be just like a financial snapshot of what our business looked like at the beginning of that accounting period. And then we get out our financial camera again and take another snapshot of what our business is going to look like financially at the end of that accounting period. Now I want to get out here now and go back to our lesson material, and we want to go ahead and take a look at the, I'm going to skip for the sake of time down to this materials page. And the materials page, this is the diagram that we were just looking at. It's there for the students to look at all through the lesson and as they want to review back over the material in the future. Now this also has an income statement, just simply a sketch of what an income statement would look like, and they have the income statement for some firm that should have the identify it as an income statement, and it should have the name of the firm, and it also should have the ending date for that income statement. And you'll notice the way this is worded for year ending December 31st. Now that simply implies that that income statement applies for the entire year. And so here we go then, the different components of the income statement, income, and here our total revenue. This is the money coming into the business from the sale of the products, and we have all of our expenses, both fixed costs and variable costs, and we would have overhead in addition, and these are all the expenses that we would have. And then we'd have our total income from our operations, and then we would take into account any gain or loss that we might have on the sale of capital assets. Okay, now I need to move on here to the very end of this lesson, and we won't have a lot of time to talk about it in this presentation, but at the end of this lesson, in Guided Practice 2, we talk about depreciation and the use of a couple of Excel features that help us in calculating calculating the depreciation. Okay, now I'm going to go now directly to the Guided Practice 1. And Guided Practice 1, one of the first things we need to do is we need to download a prepared income statement template. For the sake of time, I've already downloaded this template so that we'd have a chance to see it and work with it. Now, what the student will be working with to start with will be this Lesson 12, Guided Practice 1, develop Table 12.2, and here they're going to be creating this income statement from the information in the two enterprise budgets. This is the enterprise budget for pineapple production, and it gives details of the revenue associated with it, and also the expenses, fixed and variable expenses. And so we will be in this lesson then following what we'll be talking about here. I'll be showing them how then to merge the information from the pineapple budget together with the information from the mango budget, and pulling that all together and putting it into the income statement. And then in Guided Practice 2, we'll be talking about the depreciation and present value tables. Okay, now I'm just about out of time on my thing here, but this is basically the way I get this set up, and go ahead and discuss in more detail some of the issues that they may run into as they work through it. Now typically, by the time I get finished with this part of the presentation, then I am going to have this working with, let's find it here, I'll be doing this under the meeting with Adobe Connect. I will have been sharing the screen, and I will have my recording going, and all of this will be happening, and then I will take the meeting information and will post it to an announcement. And I've already started this announcement, and let me show you real quickly what that is. I had a special reporting that I had already prepared to talk a bit about some of this stuff, and I prepared this last year. So this is a recording that helped to talk them through how to merge those two files, the information from the pineapple budget and the mango budget, and it explains detailed step by step how to put that together and put it into the income statement. But anyway, with that in mind, that's basically how I do that for the enterprise, for the Ag Business 180A class. I'm overtime already, so